No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come, love and be loved. From the bliss out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
Good morning, Unity family. Yes, please rise and help us sing the first song.
Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, hey, everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, hey, yeah, yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity Renaissance on this gorgeous October morning. Oh, it just couldn't be more beautiful out there, could it? And now the humidity is gone. Yes. And hello to all of you who are watching online today. We wish you were here with us, actually, but we are extending our love and feeling your energy with us. We've had a beautiful weekend here, a very busy weekend here at Unity Renaissance, and now it's even more beautiful because all of you are here. Well, Unity is positive, practical, progressive Christianity. We follow the teachings and the example of our way shower, Jesus, in seeking to more fully love ourselves, love God, and love one another. And from that beautiful consciousness of love here in Unity, we honor all paths to God, all names for God, and all expressions of God. And should you ever forget, I am here to remind you that each and every one of you and you is an expression of God. Huge realization that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And as we learn to tune in to that divine light within us, we behold it in one another. That beautiful light just grows and grows, and it shines out to light up the world. Our vision at Unity Renaissance is, together, a spiritually awakened world, living in peace, love, and joy. And we are manifesting that vision through our mission, which is, together, we transform lives that transform the world. Let's begin our time of transformation this morning in prayer. I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep breath in, release, let go, and be here now. And sweet Spirit, we are so grateful to be together in spiritual community this morning. We feel the blessings of the day. We feel the blessings of the divine upon us. We're so grateful for this spiritual community that we call home. We know that beautiful things are unfolding for each of us, for all of us together. Today we just open up our senses to experience all the different ways in which God is showing up in our lives and in our world. We are truly alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic with the joy of God and for the blessings of this time together and all that unfolds from it. We say thank you, and so it is. Amen.
All right. So we're going to sing about the God that you are, the God that we are to one another, and the God within ourselves with this song, this chant. So let's stand. What do you say?
So pretty, isn't it? Well, I invite you now to connect with the divinity within you and join me in our divinity salute as we turn to greet our neighbor with a bow. Together, the divine in me greets the divine in you, and we serve and celebrate together for the glory of God. I'm going to show you some hand signals as we finish this out. Come on up, come on up.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a
of time, just the voices. Let's hear it.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
By the way, Shiva is the Hindu god, part of the Holy Trinity of Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu, and he represents our inner divinity.
By the way, that was fantastic. I mean, you can't see what we see from up here, but listening to you sing to us and watching you do the sign language, it was spellbinding. It was fantastic. So thank you. Amen. Our word for today, and I know it's 2 words. Go with me. Our word for today, it's world peace. Please join me in repeating our affirmation all together. Peace creates beauty in the world. An artist creates beauty out of a spectrum of shades and hues, and the diversity of color adds to the depth of the artwork. In this same manner, the differences in the world show the possibility of splendor when combined in the right way. I envision a world in which all people are accepted exactly as they are. And I set an intention to practice and facilitate goodwill toward others. I behold the world around me and find examples of people and cultures blending and mixing in magnificent ways. The potential for peaceful interaction and coexistence are endless. Amen. Acts of kindness, honesty, and healthy communication paint pictures of harmony. As I choose non-judgment and unconditional positive regard, I create peace in the world. Our scripture verse today is from Psalm chapter 34, verse 14. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a plethora of ways to receive your prayer support. In this case, in this instance, plethora means 4. I'm going to go from right now. We have prayer request forms that you can fill out. Now, if you go out the left-hand doors and walk straight, you will walk into a white wall. But if you do this, you'll pick out one of these, and this is your prayer request form, and then do this and put it in the prayer request form box. You can also go to our website, unityrenaissance.org, and fill out a prayer request form. Just click the tab for prayers and support, and it's very easy. Another is you can call Silent Unity, our 24/7 prayer hotline. That's at 1-800-NOW-PRAY, and if you really hate words and really love numbers, where are the accountants out there? There you go. This is for you, 1-800-669-7729. And finally, for the next hour only, we have in our midst 2 beautiful souls who give of their time and their talents and their energy. They are just 2 representatives of our amazing prayer chaplain group. Will you please stand, Hazel and Sam? And they will be in the chapel. As you're hitting that white wall out there, if you take 2 paces to the left, you'll be in the chapel too. Go see them after the service. And will you all please stand and join us in singing the Lord's Psalm?
nations hold. Deliver us, Lord, into your fold. For all the kingdom, power, and praise, with you began and with you stays. Holy Creator,
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever.
for all the kingdom, power, and praise, with you began and with you stays. Amen. Amen.
Please be seated.
Not that often we get to do a song where the authors are in the audience. Dan and Patricia, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of music. May you know God.
Don't mess it up.
The pressure's
Thanks.
on!
I do gotta say something that boy said earlier when I was hearing the Lord's song. I heard harmony in out there. I see y'all. Y'all doing great. May you rejoice in the new life within you as you release the old and worn. Open your heart with praise and thanksgiving. May you see God. May you awake to a world of beauty, lifted up from times of tears, aware of the grace that tenderly carries you. May you see God. May you feel God. Was there a time in your life you might have glimpsed something unseen? Now you can believe it's real. May you look back on a life sweet with memories, understanding all was right, and in the whisper of your last breath, may you see God. May you feel God. May you know God.
Yeah, thank you. That was Lily Scott, Boyd Black, Alicia Flores, Don and Patricia Lansky right there.
20 years ago, I had a memorable conversation with my beloved minister at Unity of Portland, Reverend Dick Everts. Reverend Dick had already been a minister for a couple of decades, and I was and the angels sang. I knew this was a good story. Anyway, he'd been a minister for a couple of decades, and I was continually struck by his deep spiritual wisdom and his great insights. And so one day I said to him, after all these years, it seems to me like you've got things pretty well figured out. What's really left to learn? And he looked at me and he said, I just want to know God. And I said, so do I. But that idea stuck with me so much that a few years later, when I was asked in a Unity class to write down my personal mission statement, I wrote that my mission was, and it still is, to know God and through my life, love, and work, help others to do the same. Because I believe that all of us on the spiritual path want to know God, whether we ever use those terms or not. That we all have this innate longing to understand the mystery of life, to feel connected greater than ourselves, to know who we most deeply and truly are. And yet knowing God can seem elusive, can't it? Which is sort of ironic when you consider that in Unity we teach that God is everywhere present, and we spend so much time searching for God. Well, Paul Smith, the author of this fabulous book, we studied this some years ago, one of my very favorite books, Integral Christianity, The Spirit's Call to Evolve. And actually today's talk is based on some of his teachings in here. He suggests that we have what he calls spiritual prosopagnosia. The prosopagnosia is more commonly known as face blindness. So it means an inability to recognize faces. So spiritual prosopagnosia means an inability to recognize the face of God. Oh, that fits, doesn't it? So how can we sharpen our perception so that we can have a fuller sense, a fuller experience of God in all its dimensions? Well, as usual, we can look to our way-shower for an example. We can follow his ways of relating to God. And if you notice, Jesus had 3 distinct ways of relating to God that were reflected in his language. So Jesus spoke about God. Jesus spoke to God. And Jesus spoke as God. And each of these ways of relating to God represents what we could call a different face of God, a different way of understanding and connecting to the divine. Let me say at the outset, because I'm sure there's some of you who are having a little response to this. When I say face of God, I'm not talking about God as a human being or God as a super guy up in the sky, the white beard and all that stuff. Face is being used metaphorically. Okay, so I'm really talking about 3 different manifestations of sort of that infinite energy and presence and intelligence that we call God. So first of all, Jesus talked about God. In this sense, he was talking about what we call the infinite God. This is the God that's everywhere present, that is in all and as all, and is essentially this continual, kind of unfathomable creative energy that is constantly expanding and evolving. In Unity, we would call this the transcendent God. You can think of it as God in the third person, if you will. Like God is sort of the it of all beingness. So this is the God that Jesus was referring to in John 14:28 when he said, God is greater than I. This infinite God is also what you experience when you stand out under the night sky and look up at the stars and the moon and the vastness of space. And you stand there with a sense of awe and wonder, knowing that you are a part of that, but it is so, so much bigger than you. So this is the infinite face of God. And then Jesus would speak to God as the intimate God. The second face of God is the intimate face of God. So this is that sort of motherly, fatherly one of personal relationship. The intimate God is the God that Jesus would speak with when he went off by himself, when he went off to be alone and pray. He would speak to his Abba, which we translate as dearest Father, or Papa, or Daddy. You see, a very, very close personal relationship, one-on-one relationship. So we could call this the second person God, if you will. God showing up in the holy other, the beloved one, the divine companion. And then Jesus spoke as God. As God. And when he did this, he was the inner God, the third face of God, the inner God. So we see this in his language when he said, I am the light of the world. And similarly, when he affirmed for us, you are the light of the world. Because we have that I am presence in us. We have that inner face of God expressing in and through us. In unity, we would call this the first person God. More commonly, we call it God emanate, God within us. We talk about this a lot, right? That our true nature is divine, that God is everywhere present, and we are expressions of God. And so this is something you hear about quite a lot in unity. I think it is perhaps best expressed by the late unity minister, Reverend Dorothy Pearson, who I will never forget this, would occasionally go, "Hello, God." Right? Because there it is, the one power, one presence, manifesting as you. So Jesus related to God in all three of these ways, the infinite God, the intimate God, and the inner God, and so can we. However, more commonly, we tend to pick one or two of these as sort of our favorites, kind of our go-to godness, our go-to way of connecting with the divine. So some people, for example, really love this sort of vast beauty and experience of being out in nature, right? The vastness of the divine presence when they're out in nature. Well, that's the infinite God. That's connecting to the infinite God. Some people relate to God as friend or companion, right here beside me, right here with me at all times. This is the beloved one that we talk to, listen to, and learn from, the intimate God. And some folks just most favor turning deeply within to the very essence of our being to discover the presence of God there, animating us, breathing us. And that is the inner face of God. So listen, all of these are great. If you're doing any of those, that's fabulous. But in order to really know God, today we're talking about knowing God in all its fullness, like Jesus did. In order to do that, it means relating to God in all three ways. So today is an opportunity to do a little inventory and think about, how am I relating to God? Am I relating to God on just one of these fronts, two of them, or all three? And there's a way that Paul Smith provides in his book for us to kind of consider which face of God might be missing for us. So here are some questions you can ask yourself. To see whether you are connecting with the infinite God, you can ask yourself, is my God big enough? Does it transcend the mythical Superman in the sky? Have I considered a God that is expansive enough to create, inhabit, and continue to evolve the entire cosmos? That's the infinite God. The intimate God, we can determine whether we are connecting with God in that sort of up close and personal way that we saw in Jesus' way of worship. And we can ask ourselves whether we're connecting more personally. Is God my God close enough, right? Do I feel the sense of friendship and companionship? Do I have an up-close and personal relationship with God as my friend, supporter, companion, and confidant? That's the intimate face of God. And finally, to consider whether we are relating to God, the inner God, we ask, does my God include me? Do I behold the divine in myself? When I look in the mirror, can I see God? How many of you can see God when you look in the mirror? All right, we got some opportunity there. So author Paul Smith says, no religious tradition has yet successfully recognized, integrated, and balanced all three faces of God. And you can really see this when you think about it. For example, traditional Christianity tends to gravitate towards spirit in the second person through Jesus, but tends to balk at seeing the presence of God within all of us. Saying we are expressions of God to someone with a more traditional or fundamentalist background can be considered blasphemy or simply egotism. You ever encountered that? When people say to you, oh, well, you think you're God. Well, it's not like that. It's not what we mean here. By contrast, in New Thought, we experience God out here and God in here, but we often overlook God beside us. We tend to resist praising, worshiping, or surrendering to a second-person presence of God. So integral theorist Ken Wilber, how many of you have heard of Ken Wilber? Brilliant man, brilliant philosopher, theorist. He goes so far as to say these sort of new paradigm spiritual movements, I guess that includes us. He says they reflect a complete loss of spirit in the second person. He writes, what we find instead are extensive descriptions of spirit in its third person mode, such as Gaia, the web of life, systems theory, Akashic fields, chaos theory, and so on. This is coupled, to the extent there is a practice, with spirit in the first person modes, meditation, contemplation, big mind, big self, big me. But no conceptions of a great thou, to whom surrender and devotion is the only response. Wilber, himself a Buddhist, says, without a great thou before which the I must bow and surrender, quote, the ego can actually hide out in first and third person approaches. He adds that even Western Buddhists balk at the second person intimate face of God. When they become interested in Buddhism and learn about devotion, they say, this is what we wanted to leave behind. Prayer to a higher authority outside of ourselves, even in Buddhism. Interesting. But to leave out the second person face of God is to lose the intimate way. It's so precious to think about that, the intimate way in which Jesus connected with his Abba. We kind of lose that nurturing, close relationship. You know, when Jesus prayed in Gethsemane, your will, not mine, be done, he was asking to be saved from himself, from his own ego. He wasn't praying to himself, nor was he praying to the amorphous presence of God, the transcendent God. He was surrendering to the will of the divine other. I find this a very juicy topic. I believe that this second person God is the aspect that is most missing in unity. It has certainly been missing in my life, and I can see why. It's in unity we put a lot of emphasis on helping people discover the power within them, right? To really know and claim this immense power that you have to create and change your life. And some of that emphasis is to counterbalance the more traditional religious doctrine that tends to put the power outside of us in the form of either God or Jesus, and in the process tending to reduce humans to being in sort of a begging, beseeching mode, right? Seeking favor or mercy or salvation. So unity, I think, has a very powerful message to share in terms of discovering that you have the ability. You have this, as Jesus was saying, you have this power within you. You are the light of the world. But I don't think it has to be either or. It doesn't have to be, we either believe in our own power or we worship someone else for having power. It absolutely can be, and I believe should be, a both and. In fact, all three faces, but in particular these two, because I believe it is both possible and desirable to really know and claim and feel and sense and apply and exert the power within us, but at the same time, be able to praise and worship that same divine power in others. Whether it's the beloved one, the holy other, whether we consider that Jesus or a spiritual teacher or master, when you behold the divine in another, it can be as simple as who we see here and other spiritual seekers. You can behold that in people you pass on the street. In my experience, there's a sort of humility and a giving over of ourselves, right? When we take that time to appreciate the divine in someone else, in that second person presence, whatever that may be for us. And I personally find it very healthy and quite honestly liberating. Over the last year or so, maybe a little longer than that, I've been sharing with you some shifts that have occurred in my own life. And they really are on this front. Not through any forcing it to happen, just kind of arriving. I feel that I have begun to experience a closer, more personal relationship with both God and Jesus. And it has changed my life. It is this sense of having a companion or a friend or a guide right there with me. It's a brand new dimension of spirituality for me. And I absolutely cherish my communion with both God and Jesus, and sometimes the angels. I throw those in there too. I enjoy communing with them, but I also have such adoration, just such praise, such appreciation. It feels really good to give that. And I do feel that because that relationship has begun to be a part of my spiritual life, that it helps me more readily recognize the divine in the second person all around me. To see that beauty, that light in all life forms. Human beings, plants, nature, and especially in animals. So yesterday, at our wonderful pet blessing, I distinctly beheld the face of God in the eyes of the dogs I was blessing. It was there, and it was beautiful. You see, this is another way of knowing God. If we open our eyes and apply some intention to it and are willing to practice, we truly can begin to see God everywhere and to feel God filling us up. So I have a little practice exercise for you today. More hand gestures. It seems to be the day for that. So this is the way to remember the three faces of God and to help to develop all three in your life. So it goes like this. I'll have you stand in a minute, but just watch me right now. Infinite God, in whom I live and move and have my being. Intimate God, you are always with me. Inner God, I am the light of the world. If that last one trips you up, think of your I amness as being the light of the world. So I'm going to have you stand and do these motions with me. Hey, you needed to move around anyway, didn't you? All right, arms apart together, and say it with me, please. Infinite God, in whom I live and move and have my being. Intimate God, you are always with me. Inner God, I am the light of the world. We're going to do it one more time. Let it really sink in. Ready? Infinite God, in whom I live and move and have my being. Intimate God, you are always with me. Inner God, I am the light of the world. Feel it? It's calling you. My prayer for you today and every day is in the words of that beautiful song that we just sang. Each and every one of May you know God. Let's turn now to our meditation. What a sweetness to this topic. Let's close our eyes, get comfortable in your seat, breathing in this divine energy. Ooh, just feel it loving you right now. Feel it moving through you. Feel it sitting beside you. Breathing in and releasing. We arrive in this moment with our hearts wide open. We are attuned and ready for a deeper understanding and a deeper connection with God, or whatever name we prefer, divine energy, spirit, infinite intelligence, the One. Our hearts are open and we are receptive. We take a moment to give thanks for our individual spiritual journeys, the twists and turns of our spiritual path, the grace that led us to be a part of this community. We take a moment to appreciate the infinite God that somehow has guided our lives, that has loved us through every challenge. We appreciate the intimate God, the God we can turn to in our deepest prayer, in our time of need, and in our time of celebration. And we appreciate this magnificent presence of God within us, as us, longing for greater expression, the inner God, ready to be set free in new and wondrous ways. Incredible gifts we've been given. We take a moment now to attune to our own inner guide and our own next step in our spiritual connection with the divine for a few moments in the silence. We feel gratitude begin to wash over us. We appreciate what a joyful journey this is. This journey of spiritual awakening that we get to share. Thank you, sweet Spirit, for incredible blessings pouring into our lives, for our own intuition guiding us in our growth. In the name of the living, loving, infinite, intimate, and inner God, we are so grateful, and so it is. Amen.
Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Show, Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding
This is the time in our service now for the sharing of our love offering in support of this amazing spiritual community that we love so much. I invite you to give generously today. We're in the fourth quarter of the year. Always appreciate a big push. And knowing that every single thing you bring and give to this community comes right back to you, increased and multiplied. So certainly, if you're in the room today, you'd like to leave a cash or a check, you can do so with the love offering basket in the back. You're also welcome to go on our website and give that way, or download the Tithely app. But the easiest way to give these days is to, did I skip something? Donate via smartphone. Text the word give, and thereafter the amount you wish to donate to. I'll come back. Go. 540-418-1228. Text now. And as you prepare your gift, it is my great joy to welcome up to the platform our wonderful Dean Ratzlaff, who would like to share some words about his experiences at Unity Renaissance. Come on up, Dean.
Well, I had to set my stopwatch before coming up here, because when I was asked to speak about what unity means to me, my head filled up with so many things that I thought, okay, 4 hours, 5 hours, that should about do it. They told me only 2 minutes. Can you believe that? Well, in 2019, I was preparing to put some solar panels on my house, and I heard about a church nearby that had solar panels. I'd never heard of it before, so I decided to check it out. You see, a few months earlier, I had a little eureka sitting in a church pew at what Unity calls a traditional church, and I realized, you know, I'm an adult. I don't have to go to the church that my mother wants me to go to. I checked out a Unitarian Universalist church for a few months, but when I came to Unity, I liked the feel. And I think I liked the feel because of the spiritual philosophy. It was somewhat curious that Paula just talked about integral Christianity and referenced Ken Wilber. I remember reading Ken Wilber's Integral Spirituality book, and it just kind of reinforced to me that spirituality is not something from a day and age when we don't have modern science. I believe that spirituality can be just as vibrant in an age of modern science, where we go to the stars, where we recognize the truth of evolution, where we recognize that human activities are causing the earth to warm. We don't need a God to fill in the gaps. And I think this aligns well with Unity's philosophy as well. I also really like the positivity of Unity's philosophy. I feel like Unity emphasizes that there are divine abilities and qualities inside of us, and the emphasis is on bringing them forth. That's very, very different, and I knew it the day I walked in that I was not going to a traditional church. Now, by the way, I still feel a little bit of nervousness for being a heretic every time I step in through these doors, because I know that's not the way it is, and many of you know that too. Some of my friends have been very influenced by C.S. Lewis's book, Mere Christianity, which is now 70 years old. And one of the quotes from that is that fallen man is not simply an imperfect creature who needs improvement. He is a rebel that must lay down his arms. And when I read about the conversion stories of Martin Luther and St. Augustine of Hippo, I see this intense psychological just struggle that then leads to some kind of resolution. And for many, many centuries, millions of people, I think, have believed that unless we're convicted that we are separated from God and we are destined to go to hell and that we need a Savior, we will not find the right spiritual path. That's not what Unity talks about. I like how Unity says, you know, we honor the different paths. That kind of seems to make sense to me. I like how Unity, not everybody has the same skin color here. Have you ever noticed how a lot of churches, everybody has the exact same skin color? So there's a little bit of diversity that I enjoy experience here. I found a book study Paula did a few years ago called White Fragility to be very meaningful. And it talked about how racism is systemic. It's kind of like we're born into it. And some people were gracious enough to share some of their personal experiences, and that's helpful for me, because I think part of the spiritual path is broadening your experience, your understanding that the way you experience life is not necessarily the same everybody else does. Well, I've already overstayed my welcome. So if anybody's interested in the other pages here, just come on up and talk to me. But I do warn you, you might have to set aside 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. That's lovely. Thank you so much. I remember, Dean, the first time you came, you had your Bible under your arm. Remember that? That caught our eye. All right. I invite you to hold your love offering in your hand now. Let's bless it with our offertory blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful.
Sir Boy.
God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are every midnight. God, you are every moment, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. God, you are every sunrise. God, you are every moon glow. God, you are every star shine, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every springtime. God, you are every snowfall. God, you are every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. 'Cause you are the very breath I breathe. And your perfect love created me. Oh, everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you.
That boy Black.
Are we keeping you busy enough today? This is a time in our service when we welcome those who are new to Unity Renaissance. If you're here today for the first, second, or third time, we invite you to raise your hand nice and high. Hold up the appropriate number of fingers, 1 for your first visit, 2 for your second visit, 3 for your third. We have a gift for you. Keep your hands up till they come around to you. Gosh, it's great to have you with us today. And if you fill out that card that's in the bag and take it into the bookstore, they have another gift for you in there. So welcome. And while we're welcoming, I just have to take a moment to welcome 2 of Richard and my dearest friends who are here today, Reverend Don Lansky and Reverend Patricia Lansky. Stand up for a minute. They're from Unity of Charlottesville. And here's what I want you to know. Not only did they co-write that beautiful song that we sang earlier, Reverend Patricia retired from Unity of Charlottesville almost a year ago now. And she is largely responsible for sort of the smooth rollout of communications around my leaving, because she's been a trusted and beloved and wise advisor for us and still is. So we all owe you a debt of gratitude for that, Reverend Patricia. Appreciate you. I'm so glad you're here. Love you dearly. And we're ready.
There it is. All right. So, coming up, 13 days from today, Saturday, October 22nd, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we have the Unjudged Experiment. One-on-one communication. One will be the presenter, and one will be the seeker. And it's sharing life experiences, sort of a view from the other side. You can sign up on the sign-up wall just outside to the right.
Yeah, this is such a unique and very rich opportunity to get to know each other, because we have congregants that have had amazing life experiences and are willing to speak about them in a way that can kind of open up our hearts and minds. So please take advantage of that. I'm excited about it. I'll definitely be there for that.
And if you have about 3 or 4 hours, Dean will be happy to sit down and talk with you.
Yeah, Dean. Oh, I'm so super excited about what's coming up at the end of this month, our mini conference on the future of Christianity. It's going to be at 7 o'clock on Friday, and be offered in person, and I really hope you come in person, because it's great to have that energy in the room. But it's also available on Zoom for those of you who can't be here. The Friday night will feature a panel. It's sort of an interdenominational panel talking about the future of Christianity. That'll be facilitated by Christopher Naughton. And then on Saturday night, I'm like over the moon excited to interview Bishop Carlton Pearson, who is just such a friend to Unity, has just the most heroic story of his own spiritual awakening. I'll be interviewing him on Zoom, but we'll still have an audience here. Both nights you'll be able to ask questions of the presenters. It's $45 for both evenings. You can go ahead and sign up now on our website or out there on the sign-up wall. Please be part of this. I'm thinking of this as kind of sort of the crowning event of my time here, and I think it's going to be pretty magnificent.
And if you are interested in...
Oh, hang on. Oh. Sorry. The Made in the Shade fundraiser. We brought this up last week. We thought we were going to have a spotlight, but we don't. That's okay. These shades are broken. These shades don't open and close properly. If we were to flip the switch for them to close, they would continue to just go and go and go and go and go. And so from time to time, that's resulted in a late night call to, for example, Paul Mitchum to come in and fix it because somebody was using the room and couldn't get the shades to work. So we need to get them fixed. It's going to cost $2,000 actually to replace them. So the wonderful Unity Sisterhood is sponsoring a fundraiser to help us raise that money to purchase the new shades. We just announced this last Sunday. We are right now at $1,258. So listen, we can knock this out in a week, right? So all donations are welcome, of course. You can designate Made in the Shade on your check today, or a check. If you would like, you can select it from the drop-down menu. It's on the Tithely app or on our Unity Renaissance app. And I'm just hopeful that next Sunday we'll be saying, woohoo, we got this done. So thank you to the Sisterhood for sponsoring that.
I like your use of the term woohoo.
Woohoo.
Yeah. If you are interested in becoming a member of this amazing, diverse, intelligent, charismatic, and very talented family, we have coming up 2 chances to attend our Path to Discovery class, both hosted by the wonderful Reverend Richard Mekdeci. That would be 7 p.m. Monday, October 24th, or
7 p.m. Wednesday.
26th. Also 7 p.m. And you can sign up on unityrenaissance.org. Go to classes and events, and it's right there, Path to Discovery.
And also, if you're not sure whether you want to be a member, go ahead and sign up for the class, learn more about Unity, our history, our teachings, etc., and then you can make the decision after that. This Wednesday is the conclusion of Christopher Naughton's great class on the one mind. You say you want a revolution in consciousness. I cannot wait to hear him interview this guest. It's going to be Jeffrey Mishlove. He's the author of Roots of Consciousness, but he also, Christopher told me, he was awarded, he was given what's called the Bigelow Award. This was $500,000 that went to him as the person who could provide the most convincing evidence that consciousness continues after death. Can you imagine? So he's going to be the guest this coming Wednesday. You can register on our website or on our app. This class is now on Zoom only. So do know that. It's $30 for the last session, and I hope you'll join us. We're having a grand old time in there.
And is Lisbeth here?
Not today.
No, she's not. Okay, so back by popular demand, Tofu 101 Cooking. She'll give you a little history of tofu and how it's used and the various ways that you can include it in your cooking. It's limited to 10 participants, and the cost is $40. That includes all the supplies, and as I understand, they get to take the food home.
You take the food home with you. Yeah, I got
so that is October 19th, 6 p.m. You can sign up on our website, classes and events, or the sign-up wall.
Yeah,
Was there a question?
No, it's October. Is it October? It's October 19th. Yeah, but thank you. Thank you for checking. And the next. So a lot of things happening with this transition time, preparing for your next minister. I want to mention Alicia has created a wonderful web page. You really ought to check that out on our website. It has the little blip of what I shared at the community forum last week. It has my letter that went out, but it also has a Q&A that frequently asked questions. We thought of every question we could possibly think of that you might have, and so all those are in there if you want to check that out. In addition, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, I'm going to be hosting small group gatherings for no more than 10 people per gathering, and I've now set those out or got those on the calendar. There are 5 different times and dates. This would be an opportunity for us to come together and really just sort of connect about what's happening, kind of where we've been, where we're headed, answer any questions you might have. I'm looking at it as an opportunity to make a close heart connection with each of you. So I hope you'll take advantage of that. Not quite yet, thank you. And sign up on the sign-up wall. I need you to go back one slide. I forgot what the other thing was. Okay, thank you. Oh, also, the board has established an email address. If you have any questions, concerns, or feedback relative to the upcoming ministerial search, you can send them to the board at the email address unityrenTransition@gmail.com. And next week, I'm super excited to share that Jeff Warder, stand up Jeff, who's one of our new members, and also used to pastor a Foursquare church, has really gone through a fascinating evolution in his own spiritual understanding, and he's going to be our guest speaker next Sunday on Loosing My Religion, A Journey of Reconstruction, so we don't want to miss that. And now let's stand and welcome our children. Thank you, Boyd. You're so fun. You're so fun.
We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God.
You can
Walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God. Light of God. We are walking, walking. We are walking, walking. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking, walking. We are walking in the light of God. 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 We are walking in the light of God.
You may be seated. Just take a moment to appreciate your generous love offering today from the youth. This basket is almost full to overflowing. So we appreciate that and know that as you've given, it will come back to you. So thank you. Now, who are our sharing stars today? Who would like to share what you learned? Amari.
Great.
I co-op.
As I give my
If I give my offering.
I cooperate as I give my offering. That's great, Esther. You got your little box there. Way to go.
We are sharing.
Yes, I got you.
I offer my help joyfully. I am the Good Samaritan. Everyone is my neighbor.
Everyone is my neighbor. Yes, sir. I got you. Oh, you're not sharing? Oh, okay.
Help others when they need help.
Help others when they need help. Golden rule. Beautiful.
We watched a video about swimming.
You watched a video about swimming? Swimmy the fish. Okay. Well, we need to check that one out. Sounds great. Anybody else? Back here? Yeah, come on up, sweetheart.
We talked about trusting each other. We went outside today and walked the person blindfolded.
Whoa.
We had to direct them.
Were you blindfolded?
Yes.
Was it hard?
Yes.
A little bit. Yeah. Well, good for you. Did you have something else? Is that it? It takes courage, be blindfolded and let people lead you around. I love that. You're learning about trust. All right. I think that's it for the kiddos. Let's stand together now and join in our prayer for protection, followed by our peace song. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God rises